Hey everyone, I'm back and feeling a little bit better. If you notice any strange cuts or edit in the video, probably means I had to go have a little mild coughing fit, or this one's interrupted me. That said, I've got a neat little project for us. PCB Way, they asked me again if I wanted some free stuff to showcase what they can do, and I said yeah, cause hey, free stuff. And I want to stress this, no money's changed hands, and PCBWay hasn't paid me any money to say nice things about them. In fact, I had to pay customs duties to get this stuff. Thanks, Canada. So, what's this groundbreaking project we'll be making? Let me paint you a little scenario. You're at home, like normal, listening to your police scanner, and you hear about a burglary spree happening right in your neighborhood. So you're thinking now, what can I do to protect myself? Well, you know that burglars hate breaking into houses that have TVs, but because you've accidentally stapled your curtains to the wall, you can't open them so the burglars can peek in and see that you got a TV. Now, you could turn on the TV so they can see the light from it, but unfortunately, you've got an incredible phobia of powering on TVs. Plus, seen the price of electricity lately? So, what options do we have? That's where PCB Way comes in. Last time, I showed you folks about the repository of cool stuff that you can use, but this time I figured I'll try to upload some custom designs I found on the internet and see how it works out. This circuit board right here might look a little familiar to those of you that watch Bic Live. You basically fill up these banks here with blinking LEDs, power it up, and they'll slowly go out of sync to create a funky supercomputer look. It's an incredibly useless thing, but it's pretty dang cool. I'm planning on filling it up with a mixture of color changing LEDs and static LEDs to try to emulate the changing light from a TV. So hopefully when you view it from behind a curtain, it'll keep the burglars away. But am I going to be a savage and just tape this thing to the wall? Of course not. That's why I got PCBWay to 3D print this gizmo that I downloaded from Thingiverse. The board fits pretty nicely in here without me needing to figure out how to modify a 3D print. And if you're wondering what the heck this thing was actually meant to be, this is actually a RAM stick holder for computer RAM, computer memory. So the desktop size ones can fit here, and there's about 10 rows. And the laptop size ones can fit here, and there's a little bit more than 10. And they are stackable. So just to emphasize, you don't actually need any expertise with CAD or circuit board design to use PCBWay. Now, with that long-winded preamble out of the way, let's actually build this thing. There's really only two types of components that need to be soldered to the board, but there's a lot of them. Right here, these are resistors. And these ones here, like I said before, these are the LEDs. And each of the LEDs does have a corresponding resistor for it. Now, I'm going to start off by tacking in the resistors at the back of the board, because you can see here, if I was to tack the LEDs in, it would be pretty tough to maneuver the soldering iron. If I put the LEDs in first, it's going to be pretty hard to get the soldering iron in there to tack in the resistor legs. These resistors, by the way, are all cheapo quarter watt 220 ohm resistors. So let's tack all of these in now. See you in a second. So I tacked a few of these in, and then I started thinking there's got to be a better way to do this than to tack them in a couple at a time. So I popped them all in, and this entire batch here, these are not tacked in. I popped this foam in the back to keep some pressure on the resistors. Gonna do this, put that down there, and just try and solder all of them at once. Let's see if that works. So solder everything in right now, and because of my old man eyes, a lot of these joints are probably going to need to be retouched, but at the very least the resistors aren't falling off. So I'm going to cut these legs off now, and all the legs have been clipped off now. Now to pop in the LEDs. Actually, before we pop the LEDs in, one thing I'm curious about, if say one LED was to blow, would the whole thing go dead, or would only that one LED go kaput? I know I could probably just kind of map out the circuit here, but gonna do it the lazy way. Gonna pump voltage through here and take measurements randomly at the LED sockets, and as long as I'm picking up voltage on random ones, that means if an LED blows, which is the same as not having an LED, the other ones will light up. So it looks like the far two contacts are the voltage input, and I got to make sure I don't bridge across to the inside contacts there, because for some reason the second two there seem to be bridged. Not sure why. Turning on the power supply now with 3 volts, and let's see if we get any readings. Yep, 3 volts. Right, so we've confirmed it's working, but I'm having some trouble getting the alligator clips to stay properly on those two contacts. So I'm just going to strip this piece of wire and solder it to there, and then alligator clip the ends to here. We'll use the side with the black writing to denote the negative, which is this one right here. Alright, that should do the trick. Let's make sure it's still working. 5 volts. Oh, I did change it to 5 volts. Looks like we've got 5 volts everywhere. So now to pop in the LEDs. Well, first I'll give it a bit of a cleanup with some isopropyl to get rid of that flux. Then we'll start populating the LEDs from the middle. So I believe this outer ring was color changing LEDs. The center ring was going to be various static color LEDs, and the inside 4 were going to be color changing again. So let's pop the inside 4 in. Also, quick way to check if your LEDs are working. Learned this from BitClive as well. Just grab one of these batteries. This is a CR2032, and make sure you've got the positive to the positive of the battery and negative to the negative. Positive is usually the longer lead on the LED, and you don't actually need a resistor this way because the battery just can't pump out that much amperage at once. And for this circuit board, this little flat side of the LED marking is for the negative, the shorter leg usually. Here are the LEDs. I'm going to try and tack them in now. Okay, that's 4 of them in. Let's test it out. Just make sure we're still good. I don't think this is going to show up well in camera, but I can see that these ones are starting to go out of sync a little bit. These two are purple, that's more green, that's more blue. And before I forget, I'm going to do a quick cleanup on this side of the board. This is 99% isopropyl alcohol. So these are the static LEDs that I have. Some of them I don't think are going to be useful, such as this green. It's just way too dim. Same with the red and yellow possibly. It's actually more orange, and maybe that'll be useful. Maybe the red as well too. Blue is actually less bright than I expected. And the white's pretty intense actually. Also, those of you with keen eyes might notice that these are 3mm LEDs, whereas the cool color changey ones are 5mm. These ones will fit in here though, no problem. So these are all soldered in now, and we've got these neat rubber securing devices on it. And the more observant of you might have noticed I left these two blank. That's just in case these ones end up being a bit too slow in terms of color changing, and if so, I'm just going to add 2 of these at the bottom. Let's connect this up to the power supply. So I'm going to leave it here, let it do a little bit of a time lapse. So you should see these lights kind of go out of sync and hopefully emulate a TV. Back in a second. And if for some forsaken reason you guys want to actually see that full 6-minute time lapse, I'll pop a link to an unlisted video down in the description. And this thing's nearly complete now. There's just one more piece of soldering that needs to be done, because I'd rather not be tethered to a bench power supply for this. And because I have a family, that means I have a lot of broken USB cables. So, gonna snip this one off. Not even gonna bother unsoldering these. I'm just gonna solder it to straight to these ends. Now the red wires should be 5 volts, the black should be ground, but because there's no law saying you have to do it that way, we're gonna double check. Gonna plug this end of the cable into an outlet, and let's see what kind of voltage we get now, if any. And 5 volts, we're good. Gonna unplug this from the wall now, and we're just gonna solder this to that. Looks like I might have nicked the white cable as well. I'll put some tape over that just to make sure it doesn't short against anything. Shouldn't matter though, because that pin's gonna be unused at the other end. And now we'll use our old friend electrical tape now to finish this. And there we go, better than factory. So we're going to do an actual test with this now to see if it does indeed look like a television from behind a window. Unfortunately, we will not be using my house windows for this because of 2 reasons. First reason, all the blinds that I have are blackout blinds with shutters to boot. And second reason, well, here's a list of all the animals I've seen over the last month, just cruising around the neighborhood, including using my backyard as a little highway. So I've hung an old bed sheet here, and we'll see what this thing looks like through a window. Right, so this is me from the future here. At this point, I think this video just might be cursed. There's no footage past the last clip you just saw, and I am 100% I did press the record button. The only thing I can figure has happened is this phone, when I did an Android update on it, it must have screwed something up. So this phone has been factory reset, and I really hope it's recording right now, but here's what you missed. I basically hung a white bed sheet in my house, put this thing behind it, and recorded it. And I have to admit, it looked more like Christmas lights behind the curtain until I added in these 2 fast flashing lights right here, which did make it look more like a TV behind the curtain. I do have some sort of bad footage from my daughter's phone. I'll pop it right here, but you can't really make out anything too much. So last night I went to a buddy's house and used their windows. Unfortunately, I realized this camera, well, either the camera's bad or I don't know how to use it. I'm probably gonna lean toward the latter. All I can really do to show you it working is this here with the reflection on the white foam right here. But yeah, me trying to record this in the dark doesn't seem like it's gonna work out. If anyone has any suggestions for any future videos, let me know. I'd like to think I'm moderately okay with electronics, but cameras are a whole new beast for me. In any case, despite all the setbacks, I'd like to think this was a successful video, and big thanks to PCB Way, who have been very patient waiting for me to complete this video. And in any case, thanks for watching. Take care.